certificate. It has a maturity instrument, a series of them attached. These instruments are traded on the market. They will be stamped by the different countries that barter, trade, or exchange these instruments. I have personally helped to recover bonds from literally around the world. You tell the corporate officer, the Secretary of the Treasury, that, hey, we know what's going on. I just woke up. The scales, how do you like this, guys? Biblical. The scales are removed from my eyes, and I can now see the activity that is taking place. Now, by claiming and taking over control of that which you created or your parents created with a signature, you now tell them that you understand that these things exist, and you want your property back. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Well, they were only de facto agents working and playing with this stuff, and you're not supposed to be intelligent enough or bright enough to even think in this realm. In reality, one of the things that's happened is you have all been converted into bankers. But then again, all free men are bankers. A man's home is his what? A man's home is his castle. Since a man's home is his castle, a man then manages his own affairs. This includes the process of creating money. I want to touch on this real quick. Yes, my little chickadee. You didn't read the bottom line, did you? The fine print of the bottom line. I told you I'd promise I'd touch on that again. You ever get a contract to get a new credit card? You ever look at the line on the check that you sign when you get a printed check from the bank? You ever done that? What? What line? Where? Yes, you signed on the dotted line, didn't you? Do you think those are dots? This is like right out of the Matrix, people. Do you think those are dots? Have you ever taken a magnifying glass and looked at the line that you were signing? Have you ever taken a magnifying glass and looked at the line you are signing? Yes. I'm not going to ruin it for you. I want you to open your eyes to a world that's been right in front of you, but as an example of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, who, as it was said, "Oh, you Sadducees and Pharisees, who would thread a camel through the eye of a needle." Taking a fiction, even though it's in front, and taking that fiction to the nth degree, and while technically presenting it, which is required by the great law, hiding it in such a way that you don't realize plans within plans, circles within circles, deception within deception. For the idea is to convince you as Americans to surrender the most precious gift that God gave anybody, both life and liberty, one tied into the other. Now when you look at lawyers, look down at them for what they are. Understand that they are an admiralty parasite. And I will tie in something I've said many times on the air. Guys, have you ever gone to see where your laws, the ones that they're using to try and murder you and murder parts of your time every day, where they're registered? Go to those tan law books in the law libraries, wherever you can. Open up the book and look to see where the copyright is. You won't find an American address. You'll find a British address. Our enemy is still fighting with us today. So what do we got to do? Well, we need to rise up and shine. We need to lift the scales from our eyes. By the way, we're going to have a law passed by the end of the day here under this fast-track system that's going to tell the American people about how they've been betrayed with the Strawman. And they're going to get rid of all these slaver bonds, because after all, Osama Mugabe's going to tell you the truth. No, he's not. He's a bar member. They're all bar members in this bunch, and that means they're all slavers. They're all slavers, people, and they're planning on finishing off the country. God bless the Republic. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire is on the run. We're on the march. And with our eyes open, We see you for what you are, globalists. We understand that you are slavers. We'll be back in about 6 minutes here on the Micro Effect in the Morning.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt. Put men of God in jail. Harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
Effect Network in the morning, but we're also on liberty3radio.4mg.com. We're on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and ultra net technologies, both east and west of the Mississippi, along with southern and central Alaska, and headed towards the Aleutians at another red banner/red flag store, and we're kicking them off one at a time, guys. We're also on the Hallmark Network on the East Coast. Ooh, that's right. The Hallmark Network, 7 colonial states on the East Coast and expanding. Congratulations. The meeting that took place Sunday was very fruitful. I want to commend all of you for the work you guys have been doing there. Independent of the Internet, the Hallmark system, like Ultranet, is designed so that when the bad guys shut off their system, they cut off their nose to spite their face, and we continue to function. Uh-oh. I hear Don there. Don, are you there this morning?
Yes, I am, Mark. Good morning. Good morning, America, on this auspicious day.
Well, I'll tell you, we had the announcement last hour. One of the things, and the reason I stressed the whole last hour of the Strawman is because I just know, Don, I just know this, that Osama Bama Ding Dong is going to write an executive order that's going to let the people know about this scam and fraud, this Ponzi scam that the Strawman mechanism is a part of. I just know it, because he's for change. And
the other thing I'm counting on, Mark, is they compare him to Kennedy over and over, because he's a young man and he's vibrant and all of this and that. Well, let's see him abolish the Federal Reserve. Instead, he brings a man from the New York Federal Reserve to be in charge of the United States Treasury.